Hey everyone, this is Brandon with Silverback MMA. So for this week's video blog, we're going to continue what we worked last week, which was the principle of hips. And what we talked about last week is what we focus on, we tend to bring alive. So we want to, again, put that focus, that awareness in our hips to bring those hips alive. Why we're doing this, last week we talked about this, is it helps us generate more power. Last week it was our punches. This week we're going to be looking at our kicks, how to generate more power with our kicks. Real quick, a reason behind this, the little science behind it. Our hips, our glutes, our core are said to be prime movers. What that means is they're really good at generating a lot of force, a lot of power. They're not as good at controlling it. It makes me think of the movie Wild Thing, that the pitcher, could throw 100 miles an hour or whatever, but just all over the place. It's a little bit our prime movers. But now our extremities, that's what their job is now to direct this force so we can be more precise and more accurate. So a second benefit to this, besides power, is going to be efficiency. When we move this way, in this case, when we kick this way, we're going to be more efficient. We're not going to get tired as quickly, and we're going to be able to maintain our power output for a longer period of time. So now, how are we going to do that? Two drills we can work on to help do that with our kicks here. So first one is very similar to last week with the punches. We're simply going to initiate our technique. In this case, I'm going to be throwing a what we call a mid-10, or it's going to be a right roundhouse kick for me, or a switch step mid-9, which is my left roundhouse kick. It's simply initiating those techniques from my hips and then just stopping there, not including my leg in this case. So from here, I just simply step, initiate with my hip. Step, initiate with my hip. Okay, that was my mid-10. So for my mid-9, same thing. Here in my stance, I switch step and just initiate with that hip. Here, switch step, initiate with that hip. Switch step, initiate with that hip. Another side little benefit, that's basically your training to feint right there. Because feint really is just initiating a strike but not following through on it to some degree. So that's number one, is just shadow box, move around and get used to, again, put that awareness there, bring those hips alive, and just initiate those kicks without following through, just initiating the hip. Second drill is going to be actually throwing a strike, but instead of throwing a kick, we're going to throw a knee. I found that throwing knees is a great way to learn how to throw a proper kick, and then we can just kind of extend the leg a little bit. We're just extending that strike out a little bit further to make it a kick. But with the knee here is when we step and throw, again, we're reaching with that hip. But our angle here is I don't want to do this, step and then just bring my knee up. Sometimes what people do with knees and with kicks, they do the same thing. They just swing their leg this way. No hip initiation in that. So from here at the knee, I step and I'm reaching with that hip. Same thing with my left. I switch step, reach with that hip. Reach with that hip. Okay? And then once again, I always suggest start slow, kind of crawl before we can walk. Do it when we're just moving around, we're not making contact. Once we can, initiate a kick with our hip. Once we can throw that knee, shadow boxing with our hip, now we can start to make contact. Take it to the back, start to, with the knee. Then I throw my right knee and make sure that I'm reaching with that hip and not just doing this. The bag, when making contact, will help you see my leg's just going up like that. It's no good. My hip's not initiating there. So, hip. And then with that switch step, and hip. Leaning with that hip. And then once you feel like you're getting that down consistently, you can maintain that hip initiation, bringing those hips alive, then take it to the kicks. So from here, make sure, and again, put your awareness in your kick. Don't worry about your hands. Don't even really worry about where you're making contact with the bag. Just make sure that you're initiating this kick with your hip. Other angle here for my mid-10. Here. Initiate with that hip. One more time. Okay? So there you have it. So again, why are we doing this? It gives us more power, and also it's more efficient. Two drills that we can do. Shadow boxing, just initiate your strike. In this case, your kicks with just your hip. Second one, throw knees. throw those knees, make sure you're reaching with your hip, and then finally take it to the bag or tie pads, making contact with something, making sure again, initiating with those hips. All right, so that's it for this week. Thanks for joining me. This is Brandon with Silverback MMA.